Hello out there in internet land, Steve Caruso here from the Aramaic Blog. I wanted to share with you today an interesting email that I got a little while back. It goes over a common phrase that you'd find in the New Testament. Dear Steve, or whomever else can help. Last year, I remember not where, I learnt that Maranatha was properly two words, Marana and Tha. Alas, I find only two major Bible translations to adhere to that position, the Icelandic and the Ukrainian Bibles available through KDE's Bible Time and the eSword Project. Obviously, the majority Greek texts favor Maranatha. If the majority view is correct, how can you explain why the minority position came into being? Yet, if the minority position holds some valor, can you explain why so few have accepted it? Surely the people doing the Icelandic and Ukrainian translations did not come up with their view out of thin air. Maranatha's ambiguity, in my opinion, probably stems from an interesting quirk of dialect. Back when the New Testament was first compiled in Greek, the common practice was to write all the words together with no spaces. Anarcheon hologos kai hologos mastontheon katheos en hologos. Whew, that was a mouthful. It was up to the reader to figure out through context where each word ended up and the next one began. As the text was copied and recopied into manuscripts that contained spaces for word breaks, scribes would soon come against a snag when divvying up this particular word into its constituent parts. In some Aramaic dialects contemporary to Jesus, it would have been interpreted as Maranatha. With the other dialects contemporary to Jesus, it could alternately be interpreted as Maranatha. What confuses matters even further is that both of these mean "Come, O Lord." The difficulty stems from the first-person plural pronominal suffix, the portion of this phrase that corresponds to, in English, the word "our." Out of all the different features of Aramaic dialects that tend to shift around, besides vowels at least, this suffix arguably has the most variety. It appears as an, na, non, any, nach, and a bunch of others. But during Jesus' time, and in his geographical location, the two most prominent forms were, as you can probably guess, an and na. Some dialects even used both of them. The choice was dependent upon the accent of the speaker. I guess I would draw a parallel between y'all and you all in American English. So my theory is that when it came to break this phrase down into its proper pieces, unlike with phrases such as talitha kumi, where it's kind of obvious as to where you can place the break, early Greek-speaking Christian tradition couldn't quite agree on how to divvy it up. The majority went with Maranatha, where a number of other manuscripts chose Maranatha. Now, when the Greek was translated into English, and even translated into Latin much earlier, the translators either, one, couldn't really make up their minds, or two, were working from a manuscript that really didn't have spaces. So you find in traditions such as the King James Bible that they kept the two halves together as Maranatha, one big word. From there, it strongly influenced every subsequent English translation. I would assume that the Icelandic and Ukrainian Bibles would focus more upon the Greek texts themselves, but I unfortunately have a little basis to judge that, as I'm not familiar with either language's biblical traditions. But in any case, the exact division of Maranatha is still up to debate, and in the end, we may never know. However, weighing the evidence, it might not really matter. For more Aramaic-related whimsy, feel free to check out AramaicDesigns.blogspot.com. Also, if you have questions, be sure to send them into AramaicDesigns@gmail.com. See you next time!